Welcome, friends. LostScarf here, and it's time for basically a podcast with Jacqueline Joy.
Jacqueline.
Well, I'm not even drinking yet.
I know.
Jacqueline
Yeah, I
Joy.
think you need a drink for that because you got it wrong.
Yes. Okay,
And
so
I'll
this is the community manager for Massive Damage Inc., correct?
Yeah.
Their newest game is Halcyon 6. We LP'd that on stream. We did a one-shot on to recommend the game. It's really good. That LP is going to be on the side channel Scarf Plays on YouTube. It's good. It's a fun game. Recommend the heck out of it. It's like DS9 meets XCOM, and it's so fun. And what has been decided, because, well, I'm coming in here all professional with like a collar and everything. It's the first time talking to a community manager for a company, and her suggestion is let's drink. So here's what I'm drinking, which is a cider, 11% alcohol.
11%?
Mm-hmm. Ciders are basically you're making a white wine, is what you're making when you make a cider. So it's 11%. Don't have a choice in that matter. That's just what they are. And you were drinking.
I'm drinking a plum wine.
There you go.
Although it looks like whiskey, but it's a plum wine.
That's what I thought it was at first. So now I'm going to advertise for a moment for Swiss Army knives because they're very useful.
Uh-oh, don't hurt yourself.
As soon as I remember which one it is, this is the can opener, so that's not it. This is there it is. So there is the bottle opener. And it's making a lot of noise. There we go.
Yay!
And for the viewers who don't know, Scarf Homebrew Cider. So there you go. Oh my god. Okay, so, well, since I messed up already, drink.
Yeah, I'll drink with you too. So, cheers.
Cheers. Ding.
Mm.
This is, be an interesting night. That's what it's going to be for sure. So, what we do here with basically a podcast is talking with a guest about whatever questions I have or topics and such. Trying to be casual, but also interesting. It's already being very interesting. And what I've been dreaming of doing is talking to like developers and just other people who are in gaming itself. Because I've been interested in gaming since, well, I grew up in gaming. And I've been playing since like a kid with like the Atari something. I don't remember. But just since a kid, so I've always been in gaming, and so doing YouTube as an enthusiast and everything. And so, community manager. Holy crap, that's pretty.
Yay!
Yes, it's I'm very hype if I'm not conveying that well enough.
It was interesting because like I didn't start out as a community manager. I actually started out as a game designer for kids apps. I used to work at a production studio. I would say like for 3 years or so. But like I also did like the marketing for the apps as well. So that was how I kind of got into like the more community management role. And yeah, I don't know. I have a knack for community management, so I was like, oh, why not give it a shot? So yeah, here I am.
There you go. And you've been at it, you said 3 months, right? 3 months of community management.
Three months at Massive Damage. Yeah. But I've had like experience with like marketing and other things for I would say two years or so.
Okay, wow. Okay, so that's a lot of experience there. And you did development, so I'm also just interested in development as well, just how that all works out. And I guess, so how'd you just get into it then? Or like
how did I get into game design?
Yeah, into game design.
It was funny because like I started out studying psychology and forensic science.
Oh.
And it was funny because I wanted to like be one of those people on CSI, It's like busting out those one-liners like, oh, you're arrested for doing this. But then I just realized, oh, that was more on the side of law, whereas like what I was studying pertains to like I guess more lab work. So I switched out to game design on my, I think, 3rd year of university.
Wow.
And yeah, I've always like liked games because like ever since I was a kid, my dad, he like put me on his lap when I was 4 years old, and he'd be playing Doom, and he would tell me to like shoot them, like shoot the monsters and stuff, and I'd be like crying because they were scary. Yeah, thanks, Dad. No, but it was like one of the best memories I've had with my dad. He was one who got me into gaming. And yeah, stories is like all over the place. But yeah, so basically I studied game design for a little bit, and like I worked on a couple of projects with people at school. And then after a while, like I would just be staying home and playing games a lot as well, because I was so interested in all the theories and the way that designers would implement certain functionalities and rules and systems. So I got really into that, and I started working for a production studio. They weren't really a game studio. They focused more on like interactive media. So I did some work for them, and then I eventually got pushed more into like the marketing role, and I actually liked that, enjoyed that as well. So yeah, I started going to community management. So yeah, here I am.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Like, so you went from forensic and you went into that is interesting. Just putting myself on there on the coin of I went into college going for computer engineering, wanting to do something. It was like just tech in general, but if I could do gaming, that'd be great. And then like, well, I can't do another 16-hour coding. I just can't.
Yeah, it takes a lot out of you.
It was after 2 years, I'm like, I can't do it anymore. So I moved over. I'd hopped around a little bit, and then I ended up in biology.
Ooh, biology.
Ended up becoming a neuroscientist. That's what I did.
Oh, wow.
And so it's funny to just hear the opposite, kind of like you were going into science.
Like switched positions.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Just as an aside, I suppose. But that's pretty cool. That's just cool because it's just interesting knowing how someone ends up where they are and just the journey.
Yeah, because I feel like all my friends now, like we never ended up where we intended to end up. It just happened by chance, and we're just like rolling with the punches and sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like that just seems to be how it is. You have a plan, and then plans don't always work out the way you think they will. And it's just things just happen. It's an interesting thing. And I'm doing this.
That's awesome. How long have you been like doing YouTube for?
4 years. It'll be 4 years in October.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. It has its ups and downs, and it's how this whole thing works. And it's very interesting seeing people come and go, and the grind of it, and just trying to learn and grow. The most interesting thing is it's always been this is a way to get the artistic feelings out. Like we've done machinimas, we've done like some long form kind of video things. We've done a lot of different ideas, and so it's a fun way to get just the wanting to create to come out, I guess, is the right way.
Right. Yeah, because you get to like edit and stuff, right? And like do all the transitions, and you have to make the calls on what kind of storyboard and kind of stuff like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all in the head though. Storyboarding would be smart. A smart person would storyboard.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
because I've always been kind of curious about YouTube as well, because back in university, like I spent all my time playing World of Warcraft. Like I started playing right before Burning Crusades came out. So like I got a little taste of, what vanilla WoW was like, and I really liked it, and like all the raids and stuff. And I would help my guild co-lead some raids, so that was pretty fun. And it was actually World of Warcraft that kind of inspired me to go into games. Because like they've created like such an empire of like intricate stories and relatable characters that you really feel attached to. And from this, I was like, it's like I want to create something like that for people, whether it's like a sense of escapism to kind of like not distract them, but I guess kind of like help them cope with like daily life issues that they might have. So yeah, that was really what got me inspired into going into the game industry.
Interesting hearing that, because gaming can do that. Well, any media can do that, because everyone needs an escape, or like a lot of stories are power fantasy. It's like because you're doing a 9 to 5 or just something in life, you don't feel very powerful. And games can make you feel powerful. Or if you feel you want to feel needed. Like a white mage.
Exactly.
White mages feel very needed.
Yeah. And also like, like in real life, it's like, I'm soft cookie, just some kid on the internet. But like in game, I'm like, no, I'm Milky, like champion of the frozen wastes or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like that with a different MMO, City of Heroes.
City of Heroes. I've never heard of that. It
It
sounds very
was.
familiar, though.
Yeah, they're dead now, unfortunately.
Aw.
But it was from NCSoft,
Oh,
and
they made Gunbound, didn't they?
they
NCSoft?
they either made or they published Gunbound. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like they do a lot of games. Like Lineage 2 was them as well, and
Oh, okay.
Aeon,
Okay. Oh,
and
Aeon.
yeah, the one with the
Okay.
angels, everything. It's a little bit older than Aeon, and in
Yeah.
that one there was so much you could make. You could make a lot of different characters. So they're like kind of superhero. It's superhero games. So
Yeah.
and villains. So you could make whatever villain or hero you liked. And for me,
Mm.
it was like I made a dude called the Honey Badger, and he was invulnerable, and he just didn't care. He was just very
It's
aggressive.
like a honey badger, pretty much.
Yeah, and it was just hilarious doing that, and then just made like these different superheroes in mind, and it was just funny. And it was just I can be these kind of different characters. It was just really fun, and it was just cool. And that's what games do. They allow you to just be creative and be what you want, which is very fun.
They do. They do. Like, I'm very happy to see this industry growing because, like, back then when I left school, I was like, people are like, oh, what's a game designer? You know, what is that? Are you like a programmer or are you like an artist? And it was like a path that you had to pick between. Like, no one really knew what a game designer did other than either programming or art. And like now with like the explosion of like this whole industry, you know, there's different jobs. Like there's streamers, there's YouTubers, there's UX designers and UI designers, and there's all sorts of different jobs that opened up for people, which I think is really nice.
Yeah, it's cool to see. Like, considering how old we are, we started in our infancy was the infancy of gaming at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's as we've matured, so has gaming. It's really the best way to look at it. And so it's just gotten older and gotten more grown up and has gained more just things that can be done, just like how a person grows. And it's just fascinating seeing all the different parts. Like with this podcast, I want to try to get those different people. Some of them might be a little more dry than others, considering, but it would be fascinating to know just how that all works and what they need to do and such like that.
Right.
And like gaming is an ocean, and you could look at Steam right now. There's like 100 games a week coming out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
As a content creator, as a YouTuber and a streamer, it's like, what do I play?
It's like, how do I even keep up with all these games, right?
Yeah, there's so many gems, and that's one of the things I worry about, and I think for you, like a community manager, you got to worry about too, is the good games getting just lost in the sea, and like Halcyon 6 getting lost in the sea. Like, what are the concerns with getting heard and being noticed, I suppose?
Well, from my understanding, to get featured on the Steam page, you have to have positive reviews and positive ratings. And you can only achieve this if people play your game. So one way we direct our players to play our game is through social media, because social media has such like a global reach that if you like, for us, like we target the strategy player. So like usually at Gamescom, like there were a lot of strategy players like in the German demographic for some reason. So like starting with Gamescom, we actually had a lot of people coming by our booth. And from there, we would hopefully direct them to the Steam page so that they would buy the game and play it and leave like a good and positive review. So that's one way of doing it. Like I know that Steam Direct released like a ton of games over like the past few months, and like it is very easy to get lost. But at the same time, this way, they also filter out through a lot of bad games because people don't really rate up bad games or write positive reviews, right? So I guess in a way it kind of like filters out the good games and the bad games as well. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it.
It's good hearing your thoughts on that. Just different thoughts, just whatever people think. Because like from content creator side, it's just been like there's just a sea of games, and there's just some really good ones, and you don't want to see anyone fail. You want to see people succeed so they can make the next game and the next one. Because the first game an indie makes, sometimes it's the only one they make, and it's very unfortunate because there's so much potential to it.
Yeah.
And that's the interesting thing with Halcyon 6. I did not play Star Commander Edition. I've only played Lightspeed Edition. I saw it, but I was like curious, but I never really I didn't buy it back then. And that's the interesting thing to see between this and Darkest Dungeon, because Darkest Dungeon did a similar thing that Halcyon 6 did. They basically did a Lightspeed Edition as well, but they called it Radiant mode, and it's just in Darkest Dungeon. Because what it is
so it's like an update to the game, or was it just like a mode that you can play?
Because you can do Star Commander mode and Lightspeed Edition. Like, you get both copies.
Yeah, you get both copies. Yeah.
Essentially, it's just both are in there, though. Because...
Oh, okay. So it's but the same game, okay.
Because my understanding is it cut down the grind, is from my notes on Halcyon 6, is you guys cut down the grind, and you revamped some things, just made it a little bit easier, but also just maintaining the spirit of the game. And Darkest Dungeon did the same thing. But what they did is it's just a new mode in their game, while Halcyon 6, you guys did a second release. And releases those are the big times to get noticed. Is my assumption. I think that's probably why Lightspeed Edition came out.
Yeah.
And, well, I guess I just assumed the thing I was about to ask is that the reason?
And also because, we wanted a lot of our older players to return to the game, so that's why we released the Lightspeed Edition. So, yeah. Okay. I think, yeah, because, I know that, a lot of people are really happy to receive a free copy in their Steam library as well. So, yeah. That was why I think we decided to publish on, a new SKU.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, I know, releases... They get some more attention. It's the same thing that the comic book industry does. I think about that, like Marvel and DC, they just keep making a new issue number 1 because that drives sales. Yeah, and it feels kind of like that as well. When you make a new edition, may as well.
That was the same intention that we had. Yeah.
So there you go. Because thanks to that, it got my attention. I was able to play it, and I recommend it. And thankfully, some viewers did buy it, so that's great.
Yay! Thank you.
That's the hope. Is when you're doing YouTube and everything is. Well, there's different things. You want to make people happy. I think game developers feel the same way. You want to make people feel something with your games, entertain people. And for me, driving sales, getting people to buy the games I think are worth buying so that you guys can make more games.
Oh, thank you.
At least I think that's what the relationship should be, I guess. And
yeah, we try very hard also on our social media to kind of push people to our Steam page so that they can also buy the game as well. Yeah, social media is definitely a really big platform that has grown over the years and also keeps on evolving every single year. So as a community manager, it's also very important to me to learn the ins and outs of all the social media platforms, and I guess learn how to best communicate to the audience that way.
That's the question I have is community cultivation. Is the thing, because there's a difference between how you gotta do it and I got. Well, there are probably a lot of similarities, but it's trying to get people interested in your game. For me, in your product, I guess. For me, it's myself as the product. For you, it's getting people interested in Halcyon 6. And how do you go about trying to get people interested in the game? I suppose, and then wanting them to stick around and try to get more people interested.
Okay, so I'll start with Gamescom because that was my first big convention in which I was actively explaining to people on what our game is about. So at Gamescom, what I did was I tried to appeal to the strategy players by saying, oh, do you like space space strategy RPG? And they're like, oh, they start looking because space and strategy and RPG. They're like, oh, these are the three key words that we're interested in. So they immediately start lining up, and then I would start also explaining how it's kind of like how XCOM kind of meets Star Trek with a turn-based RPG, and they're like, oh yeah, this checks off everything that I like on my list, and they always stick around to watch. And I feel properly, giving benchmarks for people to compare your game to is very important because they recognize titles like FTL, XCOM, Star Trek, and when we mention these names, they get very excited, and then that's when they start, I guess, paying attention more to what our game is about. Because I remember saying these exact words, and we had a whole crowd around our booth at Gamescom, and it was so hard to get everyone to play the game because everyone wanted to stay on for playing the game for at least half an hour. So it was a good turnout, but at the same time, for strategy games, it's certainly a genre where you have to sit down and where you have to sort of pay attention to all the text and all the methods that you have to come up with on how to manage your resources properly, while at the same time fending off different aliens, and at the same time you have to build your base and expand. So there's a lot of micromanagement as well. So I feel like a lot of the it was like a certain demographic that was just immediately like just drawn in like that. And I guess for me, it was very easy to appeal to the audience by saying like certain keywords, like, oh, turn-based combat, strategy, RPG, and things like that.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. The keywords, like, not about to say buzzwords, but yeah, the keywords that'll get their attention, and yeah, like strategy.
Just to give have like a properly like angle, I guess, the game, so that people kind of understand quickly, like wrap their heads around like what kind of game they're expecting.
Yeah, that's smart because they'll know what they're expecting. That works out. So Gamescom is in Cologne, Germany, right? So it must smell amazing there.
Oh yeah, all the beer. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, there you go. Well, yeah, German beer, very popular. Well, I got Scarf cider.
Oh yeah, we should take a drink.
We'll see how this podcast goes downhill.
Just gets like progressively worse, like snowballing down.
It'll be a glorious snowball, I'm sure.
Awesome, best podcast ever.
It's getting there. It's getting there. Oh dear. Yeah, Cologne, Germany, and everything. That's the other thing I'm wondering about is when it comes to like your Gamescom. That's a huge. Like how big is it? Can like you just rows and rows of games? It's just. Is there any way to describe how huge that thing is?
The way I would describe it is like, okay, there's a really big hall. It's like there are people with scooters going across the hall because it's huge. Ooh. Like a lot of the staff that was like setting up the place before it opened, everyone was on like a scooter or something, and they would like ride across the hall because it's freaking huge.
Wow.
And then just when you think you've got like a sense of the place, you would like walk into another hall that you didn't even know existed. So yeah, I think it was like the biggest convention I've been to. There are approximately 360,000 attendees this year, I think. Yeah, alone. And it was pretty crazy because each day like there would be new faces shuffling through, and like for me explaining like a strategy RPG game, like we had to basically teach people how to play like from the ground up. So we would spend at least, I would say, 10 to 15 minutes per person explaining on how to get a grasp of the game, which was very, very tiring for us because there was a lot of talking. Whereas like some other studios, they would just like put on their demo and let it run, and they would just sit there and do their thing. And if people had questions, they would ask them. But we learned for next time. We're going to create like a separate build for demo purposes that would walk people through the game. And if they had any questions, they would ask us.
That's what I was wondering.
It's crazy. There was only like, I think five of us, or 4 of us actually, actively manning the booth, and we would like switch on and off. But yeah, it was like we had to work like at least 12-hour days starting from 9. And ending at 8:30, but usually people like stay behind and talk and stuff. So it always kind of end at 9. Then we'd go out to network after.
Yeah.
And then we would go home, and yeah, it was definitely a crazy week.
That's what I was wondering about. Is you also had to do networking, and schmoozing is the word I believe is the key word there. What helps is German beers everywhere. That really helps, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love how the culture is like, it's like 10 a.m. and someone like gives me a beer. I'm like, what? It's like, no, it's only 10 a.m. It's not even 12 yet. It's like, what are you doing? It's not even 12 on a Tuesday.
Oh, dear.
And they're like, Prost, like cheers. So then like, yeah.
That's great.
So like I pretty much I think I've drank enough beer in that single week compared to like my entire life.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, but it was very fun. Everyone was very receptive to the game. They're very friendly, and you know how it is at cons. Like people are always so friendly and very supportive of each other. That's why I love going to these conventions, because you kind of like feed off the energy that everyone gives off, and it's a very like nurturing and positive environment.
Yeah, people are really positive, unless it's fanboy combat about whatever. But yeah, it's very positive. I had to look at numbers. Comic-Con is about almost 200,000, so I go to that every year. So just considering double the size, basically, because you said like 36.
Yeah, that's the one in San Diego, right?
Mm-hmm. The SDCC.
I've never been to that one. How is that one like?
Cramped. Just imagine it's just wall to wall humanity. Just
and you're just like walking, just like penguins.
Yeah, you're penguin walking at all times, and not everyone understands the concept of deodorant. Unfortunately, doesn't help
No.
out. Air conditioning cannot overcome. It just can't overcome that many people. But it's because it is movies, games, comics, TV shows. It is books. Music is there too.
Everything
Artists
in
are
like
there.
one spot.
It's literally everything's here. So it's all crammed in there. I think the worst years ever were the Twilight years. Oh my god.
What? They had Twilight
Yeah.
what?
Because of the movies. So
Ah.
Twilight was there, and so many aggressive teenage girls during that time.
Team Edward.
Very much.
I was Team Edward, all right.
Oh,
How about
yes.
you?
It's all about Jacob. We all know this. It's just no.
We can't be friends. I'm sorry.
Oh dear. Which one's Edward again?
With the vampire.
Okay, there we go. All right. Well, at least look, he's useful. He can shine.
Yeah,
it works out.
He's like glitter. Shines like glitter.
I was gonna say he glows in the dark, but that's only when he's in the sun. Like I said, that's actually useful. Wait.
Yeah.
Wait a sec. Wait. Like, I have a sister, so she was way into that. She was way into Twilight, so she was going crazy when I was at Comic-Con. Because, like, it's the local con for me is Comic-Cons, and it's fun to make that local con because it's so huge. But yeah, it's just humanity just scrunched together, and TwitchCon was here last year. And it's weird seeing another con there not be as insane. Because it's only gaming, so it still had a lot of people, but not as many. There was at least room to move around, thankfully. You got to meet devs there as well. And it's fun meeting devs. It's really fun meeting devs and the community people and everything.
At Twitch?
Yeah, TwitchCon was fun meeting them. Like, I met Yizbrid people. Like, they did games like Masquerada and Valhalla, the bar game. Like,
I think I've heard of them. Yeah.
So they were there. It was nice meeting them. They were showing Nidhogg 2 there.
I love Nidhogg.
I like Nidhogg 1. Nidhogg 1's really fun.
It's a fun couch game.
Yeah, it's a really fun couch game. Nidhogg 2, I'm really uncomfortable playing because it's Homer Simpson murdering Homer Simpson. And that just doesn't feel right for me. Because it's just the visuals.
I've yet to play that.
Yeah, it's just picture the Simpsons killing each other. That's what Nidhogg looks to me. So I'm
God.
I was fine with the really bad graphics in the first one. Now it's it's over. Like, it's over arted now. I'm like, no, I don't feel it. I can't think of a better word. It's apparently just as fun or more fun, but I'm like, I just can't handle Homer Simpson killing Homer Simpson. It's just so bad.
I'll have to like give it a shot to see what it's like.
But I tried it out, and like Rami Ishmael was there, which is he's pretty interesting guy. There's like Vermintide. I can't remember their company. There's Fat Shark, I think they're called, or something shark. Just meeting a bunch of there's so many indies out there. Like, who knows who you know, who you don't know.
Yeah, there's like a huge influx of just indie studios like opening up and stuff. Yeah,
you got, like,
which I actually really like because I feel like indie developers kind of explore different genres that like AAA won't really touch.
Yeah,
simply because like it's not within their monetization strategy. So I feel like a lot of indie projects are kind of like born from passion, and which I really appreciate.
For sure. This is the thing I like about indies is they fill a niche because they want that.
Yes.
Like the guy who made Stardew Valley, he wanted Harvest Moon online. I mean, Harvest Moon on computer, and he made it. There you go. I'm a big fan of bullet hells and shooters, and I'm very eclectic. I like everything. But I really like tower defenses and bullet hells. And a game just came out that's a mix of kind of both of those things, where you're a ship that's shooting, but you're also building towers.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And it took them 5 years to make it. And I'm like, this is why I like indies, because they will fill a niche. They'll do a thing that no one else is doing, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, on another side is Dauntless. They're making Monster Hunter Online, basically. Unfortunately for them, Monster Hunter Online is also coming right now as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's like...
I've never played it, but it looks really good. But like, if it were to come out for PC, I would definitely play
it. Dauntless is going to be free to play Monster Hunter Online. They're going to have their own ideas. But then Monster Hunter Online itself is coming as well, and so it's like the AAA and the indie version are coming.
Support the indie.
I Unfortunately for me, I've spent literally thousands of hours on Monster Hunter. It is a game that you could, if you only had to buy one game, if you had nothing else, you could buy. If you could only afford one game a year, because that's just how life is, Monster Hunter could be that game. It has so many weapons you can play with and make, and armors and different enemies and everything. It gives you so much to do that that could be your one game of the year. It's one of those games that has so much high replay value.
And like the world is like, is it really like vast?
It has.
Like is there like some part of the universe that you haven't explored every time you do like a playthrough?
Now for that,
I've never played myself personally, but I've watched videos of people playing, and it does look really fun.
It's set maps, but it's like you have like 5 to like 10 maps, and sometimes the bosses are gigantic. Like one is the Gen Moran, which is it's basically like you're fighting a sandworm from Dune. Those things are gigantic.
Oh, yeah.
You're fighting it by using like sand ships and shooting cannons at it and harpooning it and then jumping on its back and putting bombs on it. And it's really epic and huge. And it's just a really cool concept. And it's just a bunch of enemies and crafting. It's a very fun game. It's a very fun game. Capcom does a good job with it. They try to basically fill up the entire cartridge when they make these games, which is awesome. And they're very passionate about it. That's why I like it so much. And they also make free DLC with there's no strings attached to it. It's all free DLC. They don't ask for anything from it, which is
I've never heard of free DLC for a long time.
Yeah, like you hear it this year would be Monster Hunter and then Battlefront 2, but it's EA, so nobody has a good feeling about that.
That's right.
It's like, oh, free DLC, that's awesome. And then you hear Golden Yoda chest. Uh-oh. Oh, we're not getting free DLC.
Yeah.
But there's going to be gotchas, basically. It's like, oh, dear.
There always is.
It's unfortunate, that's why I appreciate Capcom doing actual free DLC with Monster Hunter. Unfortunately, they also make things like Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter games and stuff like that. And in the past, they've been shady where they had DLC on the disc that you had to buy, which is not the best practice. But that's Capcom for you.
Yeah.
But Monster Hunter is something that's nice. Both sides of the coin, a AAA company giving free DLC, no strings, and the other one giving free DLC, and you know there's going to be something shady going on, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. But I definitely am interested in getting to play Monster Hunter. Like the reason why I'd never played before is that like I'm more of like a PC gamer, so like it never came out for PC, so unfortunately I never got to play it.
That's why I'm so happy it's coming finally.
Yeah. And like you can also team up with other people. Like it's multiplayer online, right?
It's going to be drop in, drop out.
Oh, okay.
Which is awesome. Like they made a bunch of improvements. Like every game has a lot of improvements to it.
Right.
I'm selling the crap out of Monster Hunter right now.
Yeah. It's like, are you sure you're not being endorsed by Monster Hunter?
But I wish. I wish I was. I'm brought to you by Monster Hunter. At Comic-Con, they had a panel. It was packed, and there were hundreds of people outside wishing they could get in.
Wow.
There are some enthusiasts. And it's just such a fun hardcore game. But yeah, it's going to be on PC, and they're going to make it more user-friendly, which is good. So for people who are going to be new to it, because this will be the first time it's going to be on PC.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Definitely. It's going to be the first time it's going to be on Xbox as well. It started on PlayStation, and then it transitioned to Nintendo.
Yeah, because I remember it was like on the DS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, so playing it on the DS.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. It's there's an attachment that makes it easier because you don't have 2 sticks on it, but it's good. It's good, really fun. And so on PC.
Would you say that it's your favorite game?
That's hard.
You're like
I play too many.
What is your favorite game?
It's always up there. Every time the game comes out, it's in the top 10 every year. For sure. It's good. Like it's a very good hardcore game that has a lot of replay value. Like, I'd put it up there with, like, GTA has a lot of replay value. If you're a COD person, of course, that has a lot of replay value. Like, I'm just saying in general. The community
is so toxic for COD. I would not touch that.
I know you mentioned HOTS. League of Legends, one of the worst communities ever.
Yeah, like it was funny because for me, I started playing League of Legends like in the beta stages when like everyone
Ooh.
was like kind of learning the game and like everyone was kind of like a noob, so I felt like I fit right in.
Yeah.
So because like everyone was just learning the game, all the mechanics and everything. And then over the years, it just got exponentially worse and worse. Like people, like I would miss a creep, and people were like, "Oh, I wish you had cancer." I'm like,
It's
"What?
like, holy crap.
What?
Yeah.
What?"
I
Yeah, it's like it's so toxic, and like for the community, I see like some kids on the street, like I or like or I overhear conversations of some kids like, "Oh yeah, I got banned the other week for being so toxic." Like they're bragging about it. I'm like, this is not something you brag about.
yeah.
Like what the hell?
It's something
I
I
don't
worry
know.
about.
Yeah, like this competitive nature. Like depending on which side of you're on, like it can be healthy and unhealthy. But like I feel like there needs to be a balance between the two for sure.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. You can be really too competitive or just not competitive. Depending
Yeah.
on which, if you're unranked, you need to be just very competitive for sure.
Yeah,
If
but
you're
not to
playing
the point
casual,
where you're rude to people. Because like
oh
I've
yeah.
seen some people who are just straight up rude whenever someone does something wrong. It's like that's not how you get people to, cooperate. So yeah.
This is the one thing that I don't understand, and I can only chalk it up to maturity. Is if you're digging into your teammate, you're not going to make them play better.
No.
That's never going to happen. And it's like you can't browbeat someone into being better.
No.
You just can't. They just
You
won't
can
get
you
better.
can guide them by like maybe explaining, certain things or maybe like advising them in a very constructive manner.
Hmm.
But like I feel like most of the time people are so defensive and aggressive that like these games never turn out right.
I agree. I definitely agree. It
There's
feels
just so
like
much salt.
a
Yeah.
mountain of it. So
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
If only League of Legends could find a way to use all that salt to make ice cream, they'd make a fortune.
Yeah. Which is why I really appreciate like our game community because like I feel like our demographic is full of I guess older like male audience like dads.
Mhm.
So usually like I find them to be very constructive and very polite because obviously, they have kids. Well, some of them have kids, right?
Yeah.
So, they have a lot of patience in dealing with certain things. And like whenever they talk to us on the forums, it would always be in a very constructive manner. They would never be super negative or anything.
Oh.
Like we have a pretty good community for Halcyon 6. Like everyone is super helpful. Everyone always chimes in whenever someone needs help with something. And like
Oh.
two of our super fans have curated like a mega guide into playing our game for newbies. So that's been really helpful and nice of them.
Nice.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
love our community.
That's good to hear. Wasn't so fortunate.
Yeah, it's
uh
very easy to manage. Like
that's good.
then like everyone's pretty nice, so I'm very happy.
That's great.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know if you ever played the game Smite. That was
Oh, I've
a
heard of it.
okay. So it's a third person MOBA, and I made a bunch of guides for it. Part of the start of this channel was Smite. Like it was the main channel we
Oh.
did, and we got
Mm.
thousands of views and thousands of followers from that. And there's going to be toxic people. It's a MOBA,
Mm.
and yeah, trying to cut out the negative parts is not easy to do because you're always
It's
worried about losing people.
yeah.
That's a scary thing, but it's nice. It's nice for you that you had a community that's
It's
good.
better to cut off the toxic people than to let it fester, even if it means that you do lose people.
Learn that the
But
hard way.
like,
But yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Like I did have some instances where people got frustrated with their game because
Hmm.
they encountered like a certain bug and they ended up like pouring hours into this game because they thought that like this bug wasn't supposed to happen but it did anyways, so they did kind of like I guess they kind of like lashed out a little bit, but it was understandable because like for me like if I paid for a game myself and I was pouring all this time into it and I keep running into this issue, I would also be like a little bit frustrated as well, right? So I responded by being apologetic and just immediately like offering how to like fix the problem, and like immediately right away they like turned like did a 180 and they're like, oh, I'm sorry for my behavior before, blah blah
Oh,
blah. I was very frustrated, so like it turned out well in the end. I was like, oh, that makes me feel so nice
well,
inside.
that's nice. That's good.
Yeah,
Nice.
like these are the
Yeah.
stories you rarely hear, but it does happen.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's very easy to just see someone wishing cancer upon everything. Very unfortunately.
Yeah, it's very easy to lash out because you don't deal with like face-to-face interaction. I was always like behind a computer screen. So it is easy to like lash out when you don't really know who you're lashing out against, I would say.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. So YouTube, the adpocalypse happened. So YouTube's like, well, we're scared. And so they started putting guidelines on things, and it's more family-friendly oriented kind of guidelines. To the point that, well, YouTube's such a big beast, they need bots to do a lot of things. And their algorithm has started to hit people for more, like, violent games. I have a friend who got a community strike, which does the same thing for having a Doom LP. And people on Reddit also said the same thing, where they got struck and they had their videos removed because they were doing Doom.
It's they got like, Doom before, like they removed it from their channel like altogether, or
they got demonetized, and then they got hit with a strike.
Oh wow!
And it's like, ooh, that's not good, because violent games, and some games that are a bit gore, like Doom is very violent. Those are things people play and they do things on. So
yeah, like I grew up with Doom.
Yeah. For me, it was Doom 2. Played that for a very long time, but
oh, that's interesting.
Because of that, I wonder if it will impact YouTubers to want to do less violent games. And how would that affect maybe a community manager if you were maybe managing a game like Doom, or like Halcyon 6 does have some violence with their green shirts. They die horrible ways.
But they're cute pixels. Yeah. Like, you know, it's like but aw.
I don't think you'd get flagged. But if you were managing something like Doom, I guess, like, how would that affect your mindset when approaching content creators, I suppose?
This is hard because for Doom, like I haven't played the new Doom, but like I don't know if they have a setting in which like you can like kind of, you know, well, for our game we actually have a setting where you can like turn off the gore.
Oh, okay.
But like but when you click on it, it actually doesn't do anything. Yeah. You can't turn off the gore in our game. That was just like a little Easter egg we put in where it's like, oh, you can try to turn off the gore, but you actually really can't.
Okay.
But I guess no one really tried that because no one tried to turn off everyone. I guess they kind of enjoyed the gore. I don't know.
I just assumed it's just a thing. I didn't think there was a button. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, but like I know that some other games like they also have this feature where you can turn off the gore and the blood and stuff. And I don't know if Doom has that. That's something I have to probably play for myself to find out.
Yeah.
But it's kind of tough because they've already released like a whole game that's like pretty much set on killing demons, you know, and it's really tough because I feel like, especially I guess like YouTube, they release these guidelines to kind of protect like the younger audience, or I don't know what their intention was. Was it to like kind of?
It's to do that because of advertising, because they want family friendly. They don't like rated R, I suppose, stuff like that.
This is tough because like the way I look at it, it's like we can't really shield like the younger children or younger audiences like from gore and blood and or whatnot, but I think like we can teach them how to be mindful of certain things. Like I don't know where I'm going with this, but bear with me here. But like I guess as a child, like I did watch a lot of gory and bloody stuff because of my dad, because he was into that, like, you know, like those genres of like hack and slash, and like I would always be sitting beside him just watching him play games and stuff back then. But like it never, I guess, like I don't know why. I guess people want to censor that from children to make it more family friendly. But honestly, like for me, like I was exposed to that at a very young age, but hey, I turned out fine, you know. I hope. I don't know, but I think it's more about parents and guardians teaching people or teaching kids and younger audience how to be more mindful of these things instead of just trying to censor everything. That's what I think. I don't know if that answers the question at all.
It doesn't, but it's an interesting conversation. For me, it was just games, and there's always the gory games, like Mortal Kombat during our when we're growing up. There's Mortal Kombat, and Doom. Like for me, it was for me, it was Doom 2. I didn't get to play Doom until later, but I played a lot of Doom 2. And what it was is, my dad goes to the bowling alley, and he brings me with him. And he's friends with the pro shop owner, and the pro shop guy just has a computer, and he has Doom 2 on there.
Oh, awesome.
I was like, so every time I'm at the bowling alley, I'm playing Doom 2. And if he's too busy, he's got to use his computer, well then I go to the arcade at the bowling alley, and it's got Mortal Kombat, it's got Killer Instinct, it's got these things. There's always been violence and everything.
Yeah, but you turned out fine, so...
Yeah, let's believe that, yeah.
Yeah, we both turned out fine, you know?
Yeah, I feel like the human condition is we don't all become psychopaths.
Yeah.
It's just such a silly thing. I don't know why it's always been such... Video games have always been a punching bag.
Yeah.
It's very annoying. We've always been a punching bag. Just people who like games and people who make games. Like you guys making games and everything. I don't make games. I play them. But, because I said we. Yeah, I'm not included in that part.
No, but you're a very important part of the community in which, you know,
Thank you. The dream is to get really big at that, is to be able to guide people towards the awesome games. Because there's so many games that even I don't know about. I'm like, holy crap, that's a great game. I'm glad I'm playing it now.
Yeah.
And so that's the beauty of indies. Oh, we're going over to this now. You drank, I'm drinking.
I think you need to catch up to me. I'm almost done.
It's a bottle.
Yeah, so... I'm kidding.
Why not? Let's toot the horn of indies. Like, the beauty of indies is... Like you said, they can do all these different ideas that AAAs aren't willing to do. Mm-hmm. And more often than not, I feel like they're the ones who are able to engage people not just through power fantasy, but in other emotions as well.
Right.
Example would be Undertale. I don't know if you ever played Undertale.
I've tried to get into it, but I just suck at it. I don't know why.
Okay. It's so different.
Like, I end up killing everyone by accident. I don't want to kill them, but like I can't avoid, so I have to kill you.
I'm a murderer. Just so
I don't want to be. You're making me do this.
Stop walking into my knife. Stop.
Yeah. But like it's games like that, and also I feel like story-driven games have been becoming really popular because I feel like since the dawn of time, like humankind has always been drawn to passing on our knowledge, like through stories. And in a sense, like this is what we do with games as well, or games with great stories. Like, let me pull up my favorite quote by Troy Baker.
Oh my. Okay. Troy Baker.
If gameplay is a needle, then story is a thread, and together they weave an experience that transcends simple entertainment into a fervent desire to embark on a journey over and over again. It's like,
that's pretty good. Pretty good. Right? Who did he steal it from? But
I know. I was like, Googling
pretty good.
Where did he steal it from? I don't know if he came up with it or if someone wrote it for him, but that was amazing. Like that quote stuck with me because I remember watching like the video game awards and I was just crying at this. That's
a pretty good quote because
it gave birth to or it didn't give birth, but like the narrative genre gave birth to a lot of good games, like that Dragon Cancer.
Oh god, that game has broken so many people because it's oh my god, it's
I'm just like my heart.
Like it's not like because it's in game forms. If you look at it on a technical standpoint, don't do that because it's not about that. It's about the narrative of it and what they're dealing with. And it's just like
it's like they just had a tough subject. They just had a story that they wanted to share with the world, and they sort of, I guess, let people experience this journey with them. And maybe they want to share, like, hey, for anyone else who's out there, you're not alone. Like, let's all experience this together and support each other. And that is what I find beautiful about indie games, is because they allow, they're very relatable, and they allow other people in to experience the same feelings that they feel.
Yeah. And, a good one would be the Night in the Woods.
Ooh, yes. That's on my playlist. I've been meaning to play it. I haven't played it yet, but I really want to because it just looks so good. And I think it explores issues about mental health, in which I think it's very important.
Yeah, so you were going for psychology at a point, right? So
yeah.
Just you're already gonna play it, but just talking about it, it's such a game that's relatable for millennials. very much so. I related to like every character in some way. Every character in that game is like, yeah, I've had that feeling. I've had those thoughts. I've
Mhm.
gone through things like that. It's the game has some points where they have some conversations that are very real conversations,
Mhm.
and it's
Mhm.
just such a good narrative game. And you can explore and run and find all these other things and meet just random characters, have random conversations. And it's just it. They're animal people, but they feel so human. Is a good way to
Yeah.
put it. Is just they just feel very human. On the other side of it is, I'd say, like Life is Strange. I don't know if you played that.
I was about to mention that game. I was like, oh, Life is Strange.
So you played it completely just
Yeah.
yeah, because Before the Storm's Coming, but that game narrative wise is amazing, and some people are like there's no way people are like this. I'm like no, I remember people kind of like this, and very much. I don't want to admit it, but the artist guy who hooks up with the Asian girl, was her name Brooke, I think.
Brooke. Was it the girl with the drone?
The girl with the drone. Him,
Yeah.
I looked just like him in high school. I looked just like that guy in
Oh,
high school. I'm like, oh my god, I see me
like,
right
damn, is
now.
this me?
Yeah, I'm like, I see me. The difference is I don't have that accent. I can't draw, but that guy looks just like me. Holy crap! Like, I'm gonna go be
Awesome.
friendly to this guy. He needs a friend. I'll talk to him.
So I'm curious. What did you do? Like, what did you choose to do?
Okay. Here's what we'll do. We
Okay.
will have this conversation at the end after the
Okay.
outro, and
Okay.
we'll talk about that because I do have
All right.
thoughts. I do
Okay.
have thoughts about that game, so we'll talk about that after. We
Okay.
are approaching the hour, so let's talk
Ah,
about one more thing, and then we'll outro out, and then we'll talk about that for anyone who wants to stick around and hear that conversation.
okay.
Because we just did the LP for it, and so the ending was just like a couple days ago,
Um,
and I definitely cried a few times in that game because there's some intense moments. Oh my
mhm.
god! But before we go there, I do want to talk to you about we talked about it a little before, and that's Crunch because that was
Ah, right.
on Polygon. They had an article that was kind of saying Crunch is awesome. And just a quick aside to Polygon, they screwed up. You don't have to. Because what Polygon
What?
did, just aside before we talk about Crunch, is they put
Mhm.
up an excerpt from this guy's book, and he wrote Spec Ops: The Line, which is an
Mhm.
insane game narrative wise. Talking
Mhm.
about narrative, but the excerpt is him talking about how awesome Crunch Time is, how he gets a charge from it, how addictive it is, how great
Mhm.
Crunch is. And so all the developers on Twitter are like, "What the hell, Polygon? Crunch is bad. That's a very bad thing." And he himself said, "Yeah, that's an excerpt from the book. This is me showing my low point in life, where crunch time was an addiction because he had nothing else. It was filling the void." And Polygon just
Oh,
puts it
I
out there
see.
without any context.
Yeah. Oh, Polygon.
This is what they do. Polygon
Yeah.
is sometimes they're good, most of the time they're not.
Yeah.
But it Polygon's where they are. But so it just the conversation of crunch time, just because I don't get to talk to people who've done developing, just
Uh-huh.
thoughts on what crunch time is, like firsthand or just secondhand.
Well, for me, like, during my days as like a game designer, when we would release to the App Store to submit it for review, there were times where we had to stay until like 1 to 2 a.m. at the office, just like finishing everything up. But this didn't occur on like a daily basis. It would like occur like maybe when what was time for submitting it, which is I wouldn't mind it like the overtime for certain days because you just have to do what you got to do. Like when you have to submit something, like yeah, everyone has to stay behind. But as long as like I think there's a fine line of balance. Like I have people like in the animation industry who have worked like crazy hours. Like they would pull 12-hour work weeks. Oh, sorry, not 12 hour, like 12 hours a day, and they would rarely get any time for themselves. But this was all to finish like a really big project. And I think doing this can be healthy, depending on your lifestyle and because everyone is different, right? Like for me, I don't really have any attachments to anything. Like my time is pretty much centered around work, but like to get something done, sometimes you do have to put in that extra effort. But at the same time, if you do too much of it, it becomes unhealthy because, at this point, all you do is exist to work and not to live. So it's a little bit tricky because there's always a fine line that they walk between. But for me, I've never really experienced anything to that extreme where I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm burnt out. I have to take a break from just life in general. So I've been very lucky in that regard. But yeah, to answer your question, I think crunch time can be healthy as long as it's in like controlled doses. So like as long as you're not overexerting yourself or overworking yourself for a large amount of time, because over a large amount of time, it kind of builds up and then you get really stressed out. Maybe some people don't get to see their family as often, which is also a very big stressor in their lives, especially if they have kids. So yeah, I think crunch time can be good in small doses or healthy doses.
Okay.
So that's my answer.
Interesting. I'll bring this up. Night in the Woods developer, when this whole thing, they talked about it, they did crunch, and they crunched for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And they're like, it impacted their health. And they're like, they talked to their doctor, and like, yeah, you effed yourself up. And
yeah.
And so they'll never do crunch ever again. And they're like, it's just not, they don't recommend it, it's just a bad thing. So yeah. I've never necessarily done, well, outside of college. I'm a workaholic. You have to be when you do YouTube.
Yeah. As long as you enjoy it, I feel like it makes it a little bit more rewarding.
It definitely
because
does.
Sometimes you do have to get something done, and then you can't really sleep until you get it done.
Mm-hmm. But
really as long as you enjoy it, I think it's okay. Yeah, exactly.
I had to show you a machinima or two.
Ooh, yes, please.
This took like 100 hours, and it's like only a minute or 2 minutes, and it's like,
oh my god.
That's what machinimas are. It's like you spend all this time making this thing, and it's just like, it was fun making it. I feel rewarded for making it, and now that it only has 20 views, I want to die.
Oh, but it looks awesome though, right?
Mm-hmm. So I'm very proud of it. But it's kind of the frustration of all that work goes into it, and then nothing comes out of it. That I feel that for indies when they make these amazing games, and then they don't get a big reception. But there are so many games out there.
Yeah, it's difficult as well because like as an indie developer, like you also have to identify your target audience and make sure you're able to connect with them on a certain level, and then show social media, like the audience on social media what you can do. Because like I find often like for some indie developers, they get so caught up in their own project that they don't spend time reaching out to their audience, so that sometimes like they're often in like their own echo chamber in which they're it's just full of their own thoughts and ideas of what they think people might like, but it might not be an accurate reflection of reality. So I think it's very important to have like a good balance between knowing your audience and knowing what they want, and also knowing your product and what you want to design as well. And you have to like have a good understanding of both of them and how they correlate together in order to make a successful product. Or that's what I think.
I think that's good thoughts, and I could definitely do better on that with YouTube and everything. Just retrospective is we do everything, and so it's like, what audience can we have? The audience I try to get is people who just have fun. I think is, but how do you have it? How do you narrow that down? I guess.
Yeah, it's tricky because like you want to advertise to like a broad audience to get as many reviews as possible, but at the same time, like the more broad you go, I feel like you get kind of lost in the sea of voices.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to go like super niche first and then expand from there. From my experience, that's how I've always done it. Is to always aim for like the super narrow niche and then expand from there, because it's easier to pinpoint like a certain community that would appreciate your product. So yeah, that would be my.
It certainly makes sense to me. It does.
Yeah. Or that's what I've always done with like the games that I've designed, or like even with Halcyon 6, like I'm still very new to the team, but like how we started off first was to pinpoint all the strategy players and then like go out from there. Because we do have like emergent story, like story-based events that kind of count as like emergent storytelling.
Yeah.
And we do have like tactical crew management or whatever. So like we did like pinpoint all like our demographic of older male audience, and then just try to like expand from there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of things to think on.
Yeah.
One last thing to round this whole thing out. I'd like to ask everyone, if anyone's interested in becoming a designer, a dev of some kind, or a community manager, what advice would you give someone who's interested in that?
Oh man, this question stumps me because I feel like I'm not a pro myself, so I don't know how to like advise people. But the way that I did it was first of all, you have to have a really strong passion for whatever you would like to achieve. And always identify what your strengths and weaknesses are, honestly and earnestly, so that, it's always good to be aware of what you're capable of and what you want to do and what your weaknesses are before you try to achieve something. Sorry, I'm just like going in like a kind of like a circular argument or like answer, but
Did put you on the spot.
I would for me, I would network as often as possible, like go to a lot of socials and tech events, because I feel like that was how I built my base with like the people I know now. Like I would definitely say that I was a different person than I was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And I spent a lot of my time networking, just like talking to people. And I was always very willing to volunteer my time and help other people out. And because I did that, people always remember, it's like, oh, she's the girl who helped out with this, or, she did something for this. And then they would always, I guess, call me back to like, or they would like ask if I want to work on projects with them, which helped a lot. And if you want to be like a game designer or developer, I would recommend participating in a lot of game jams, because like a lot of people come together to collaborate on projects, and you get a lot of experience that way. And you also get to experience like the real crunch that people do in studios. So yeah, game jams.
Yeah, that works. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's see. So that is the podcast. We're still going to talk after this outro, but this has been a lot of fun, and thankfully we didn't drink too much.
I'm going to finish my drink, and I'll vote you.
I'll drink a bit more. Cheers. But this has been basically a podcast. It'd be definitely, if you want to come back and do another one, I think you've been a very fun guest for sure.
Oh, thank you. You're very good at inciting like a lot of thoughtful comments.
Thank you. Feel good about that. Like, I want to make this podcast worthwhile for sure. So,
I hope I have proved to be worthwhile.
Yeah, you're worth talking to. You're definitely worth talking to. I think so. So there you go. This has been basically a podcast. I am, of course, LostScarf. If you have any feedback and thoughts, let me know, because we want to make this better and greater. And this has been, of course, Jacqueline.
Yes.
Joy. Community manager of Halcyon 6. And you have a shirt, actually. Just show that really quick.
Oh, my shirt? Do I stand up? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So there's Halcyon 6. I haven't seen it. There you go. Shirt shot.
Yay! Yeah.
And it's a fun game. It's a very fun game. Check out our one shot if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It's just fun. DS9 meets XCOM is the best way I can describe it, and great. I really enjoy it. So,
thank you.
The drink. Thanks for coming by, everybody, and see you next time.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
There you go. And if anyone still wanted to hear the Life is Strange talk, let's have that Life is Strange talk. So, just going down the line on this thing, you got like, what did you? What?
Oh, sorry. I like elbowed my blinds.
Oh dear. Yeah, mine's right here. But Life is Strange. The first chapter, like when the time powers kicked in, I was like, oh, like playing the game, like, okay, it's just Telltale, okay, whatever. And then time powers happen, like, okay, time powers.
It's like,
now I'm interested. Yeah, I was like, oh snap, okay. Oh, you got me now. You got me now. But chapter 2. Did you save Kate or not?
I couldn't. Cause like for me, I didn't like snooping through people's things, so I didn't read her laptop and stuff that you're supposed to do. I just like did what I would normally do in any situation. I didn't like because I felt it was kind of weird, like the person's standing right there in the room, and am I gonna read through her laptop? Like she clearly could see me reading through her stuff. So I didn't do that.
Because you do get in trouble with the cheerleader if you do that.
Yeah,
She's like,
exactly.
What the hell? But what I did was I got time powers, so I'm like I snooped everything and then I rewound time.
Like you're so smart. For me, I was like, oh my god, I don't want to like disrespect your privacy, so I'm not gonna read. I was like, you're so smart. Damn it, that's what I should have done.
Thank you. Because I'm like, I got time powers. I'm gonna abuse this for a moment.
Yeah. So like for me, Kate Marsh died, and I was like, I was like so devastated.
That whole thing was intense. I was like, oh my god, save her. Because like you're at the bottom, you see her jump, and you're like, okay, rewind time.
Yeah.
And you're like,
and you get like nosebleeds and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, no.
She's like, I guess she just kept hitting rewind by a second and ran up there or something because she's struggling to get up there, and she's like, my powers are gone. I can only just pull this off, and I pulled it off. I'm like, oh god,
that was amazing.
Oh my god. It's just such an intense thing. It is very intense. It's because it's for reasons. Like, that one hits home for a couple reasons. One is, my viewership knows this. A couple years back, I did make an attempt. And I survived. But besides that, like, I'm past that now. But besides that, this channel itself, we've helped people in dark places. We're at 6 preventions.
Oh, wow.
So... seeing that in game form was extremely emotional for me. I'm like, holy. So I cried at that point. The third day, when you go back with the picture and save Chloe's dad, I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna save the dad, holy crap. But I'm like, there's gonna be a price to pay for this. And then you see Chloe. You see her in the wheelchair, I'm like, there's the price.
Yeah.
There's the price, like, oh, I'm like butterfly effect.
It just hits you so hard.
Yeah, and she feels responsible. I felt responsible. I'm like, it's like, because you save her dad, but you ended up getting her in a wheelchair.
Right. It's a game that really has like hits a lot of emotional notes because you feel like you relate to the character so much, and like you feel like you have like because you have this power that you feel like you're responsible for all the things that happen in the game, and that it's in your. Like, you feel like you want to save the world because you have this power. So, like, whenever, like, something, like, for me, when Kate Marsh died, I felt so horrible because, like, I couldn't save her. And then I just felt like I just failed. I did fail, but...
Interesting. I've seen her at Comic-Con this year.
Kate Marsh?
Yeah, she looks just like her, the voice actress. She's just like an adult version of her. That's it. Like, she looks just like her. I'm like, holy crap.
Oh my gosh, that's
She had the hairstyle and everything. It was funny. I was like, wow, she looks just like her. And she sounds like her. Like,
Are you sure she wasn't cosplaying as her?
No, because I was at Square Enix and she was talking to the community manager there, the senior community manager.
Oh, yeah.
She was talking to him, and she's like, if they have more work at Square, let her know. I was like, it's probably... Maybe if they do more Life is Strange.
Yeah.
But that was interesting.
For the storm.
Yeah, before the storm. And chapter 4, killing Chloe or not killing Chloe.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn girl, can you stop dying?
And I was like, can you live for once? I tried so hard to keep you alive.
The funny thing is, before playing Life is Strange, we LP'd a game called Ghost Trick. This is from people who made Phoenix Wright. And in this game, you're a ghost that saves people's lives. You go back in time and save people's lives. And one character dies a lot. I'm like, it's the same thing again. There's a character who can't stop dying. I'm like, God damn it, Chloe. Stop being this character from another game.
Yeah.
Why does life hate you so much, Chloe?
Yeah. Which, like, really kind of begs the questions, like, was she actually really meant to die? Or have you been, stopping the inevitable? Yeah. I don't know.
Well, at the end, they try to say that's what you're doing. I don't know. Like, but at that point, did you kill her or did you not kill her?
I did not kill her.
So we're on opposites here. Selfish. I was like, she wants it. She's gonna die anyway. This is her favorite day. What do I do?
Selfish.
Yeah, I'm like we put a timer. That's how long it took me to decide. And there's like 3 something or 4 minutes. I'm like, I don't know, guys and gals. I can't.
Because
okay, we're doing it. We're just. I'm not even gonna look. I'm not even gonna look while I click. Just.
Oh my God, that
So
was
tough.
that was a very selfless decision. Like for me, I was like, oh, I'm very in the moment. I'll do. I guess I'll do what it takes to like hold on to this happiness, and then yeah,
it's so
that
tough.
that was my thoughts. Those are my thoughts.
And then the Jefferson twist. What did you think of that?
Was that Mr. Jefferson?
Yeah,
oh my
Mr.
God.
Jefferson.
I knew he was a slime ball.
Yeah.
Like the way that he was like trying to be all nice and stuff and like be all friendly. I was like, there's something wrong with you. I can feel it. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it. I was right.
I was kind of mad about that because I'm like, it was too obvious because it couldn't be Samuel. Because he's kind of creepy, but he's a nice guy. And he's too obvious. Because back in the day, like maybe 20, 30 years ago, the creepy guy is the bad guy because that's what the trope was.
Yeah.
So it couldn't be him.
That was different. Yeah.
And then it couldn't be Chloe's dad. And so who else could it be? It could only be Jefferson.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I wish that wasn't the case. 'Cause I'm like, it was a twist that was meant to happen. But you just, I don't know how it could have been done better. Straight up shooting Chloe in the face, like, oh god, she's dead again.
I was like, God damn it, Chloe, not again. The
first half of that last chapter is so tough because it's so he's so crazy and you're so kind of helpless. You're not completely because you're Max, but it's so crazy
because you have to rewind so many times to try to get
And it's also what I like is you do failed rewinds where you're doing things that push you forward a little bit, but he also pushes you back. Like it was very creative.
Yeah.
And that was great. But then you end up just in you help David take out Jefferson, which is great and everything.
I failed that part so many times.
Yes, I'm like,
it's like David just kept dying. I was like, damn it.
My thoughts on that is, you're a Marine. What are you doing? Like, he's in the Marine Army. Like,
I know. It's like, come on. It's like, I thought you were better than this.
Yeah, I'm like, you've only been out of active duty for a couple of years. Come on, man. You got this. Come on. You versus a photographer.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, what the hell?
You have to tell him to do everything. Like, come on, David. And then
that part broke immersion for me a little bit because I was like, this is really dumb.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest. But for me, the greatest work of voice acting in that game was his reaction after he learns Chloe's dead. Because I told him. Because you could choose not to tell him. I told him.
Yeah.
And the voice actor did distraught so well. Like, he was so unhappy Chloe's dead. Because the whole relationship is they hate each other. Him and Chloe hate each other. But he wants to be her dad. He's trying to be. And
he just has that like sort of like a defense mechanism into not being like that softy, but he really does, love her as a daughter.
Yeah. Like he means well, he just can't pull it off.
Yeah.
And now he can't ever because she's dead. And he's just so unhappy. I'm like, that's so
told him. I didn't tell him. I was like, I'm gonna wait for another better time to tell you.
On that. Well, I'm glad is you don't have a choice when it comes to the mother. You just don't tell the mom. You just do not tell the mom.
Yeah, it's true.
But it's just because I like voice acting. I've been a fan of. So it's funny you mentioned Troy Baker. I've been a fan of voice acting for like years. And that's the other thing is some of the LPs I'll voice every character as practice because I want to get better at it. Oh. And so like I like Troy Baker and like Steve Bloom and those guys, like David Hayter, like Snake. He is Snake.
Oh yeah, like, he's amazing.
Like McGlynn, she's like in Sony anime and games and everything. And Laura Bailey. There's some amazing voice actors that you hear them in everything. Yeah. And maybe we won't get to that level, but being able to do voices in a game would be awesome. But that was an aside.
Is that what you're like aiming to do? Like be a voice actor in gaming?
That is
I can definitely hear it. Like you have like a certain like intonation that you can definitely pull off for different characters.
Thank you. Like I do like I've done like goblins and Reinhardt and
Reinhardt. Whoa!
Like I love the voice actor of Reinhardt. He's such a nice guy, and he just because there's so many videos of him do like happy birthdays for people or him just being friendly to people. That guy's just awesome. He looks like he's just enjoying being the voice actor for Reinhardt.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And so
I really like a Diva. Diva's cute.
She is very cute. She's so sassy.
Yeah, I love that.
And the voice actress is also quite sassy whenever they do video stuff with her. It's fun.
I like how Like if you take a look at all the voice actors and then you compare it to like the people, I guess their characters in game, they kind of look so like you can kind of see like feel their essence.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I want to believe they had that in mind when they were doing some of the characters.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like Blizzard character design, they've always like over exceeded, achieved like the best of the best.
For me, everyone's so good at the voice work, and then there's May. Like May is May. Like,
yeah.
And her voice actress, it's like she's so sweet and like cute and everything. Because the whole sorry is her just doing that because she accidentally knocked something over.
She's being Canadian.
And that's great. And like, yeah, their characters are great. And their voices are amazing. And but yeah, I have friends who do like abridges and stuff like that. And those are pretty interesting. Like, I've considered doing something like that too. Just the more you do it, the more practice you'll get, the better you'll get at it. Like, that's just the way it is. The more you do anything, the better you get. And so it's just...
That's true. That's true for everything.
Yeah. Practice.
Yeah.
I like how we're talking about that in Life is Strange. And because there's so much voice work in Life is Strange. And Max is great, and then you save the day, and you're on the plane, and you're at the art gallery, you're at the photo gallery. But
even when you're there, you feel like a sense of like something is about to go wrong.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, the storm. How did we forget the storm? Why are we not? I'm like, the storm's Max.
The storm. And then you have to rewind all the way back, and you're just like, your nose starts bleeding. And I was like, oh.
Like, writing wise, I get it. Like, I've had too many interests. Like, I wanted to be a writer when I went to college, but I went for computer engineering because writers are such a hard thing to do.
It is.
And like, writing wise, I'm like, they showed you the promised land to take it away. That's what they did. Because you got to see she achieved the dream. Now we're going to take it away. Just to hurt you. Just to hurt the viewer. To hurt the player. For more emotional impact.
It worked.
It did. I'm like, it sucks so much, but she's got to save Chloe. She's not going to leave Chloe behind. And so now we get to the ending. 20 minutes ago. Chloe over the city. Like, I was like,
you did good. You did good, though.
Like, that's a choice. I'm like, because my thoughts are, they didn't, like, why is the storm? The storm is because you keep saving Chloe? Seriously? You're going to kill an entire city for one life? Whatever's causing all this? Like, my thought process was, warn everyone about the storm so the storm doesn't kill everybody. But she never does it. The entire time she's doing the Jefferson plot. And a part of me was like, is she focusing on the Jefferson plot? Because I was thinking, maybe I can't remember the name of the family, Nathan's family? Because the Prescotts are so evil. They are so evil. I was thinking, is this storm coming to wipe out the Prescotts? Because if it's coming to wipe them out, I get it, because it's so evil. So if you stop the Prescotts, you stop the storm, because it's here to stop such an evil. It's like, no, it's here to kill Chloe. Why is it here to kill Chloe?
Yeah, I know. I guess it's like, in a sense, it's kind of poetic. It's like some things, it's just like good things happen to bad people, and good things happen to good people, and bad things happen to bad people, and vice versa, whatever. So I think it's like, it's more of like I guess a statement on the inevitability of life, I guess.
But for me, I felt like the storm wasn't executed as well as it could have been, like setting it up, I guess. I felt like it could have been a little bit better set up. And so the way I played the game, was, what would Max do? It wasn't what would I do, it was what would Max do? And my mindset of Max was, she's kind of snoopy. She's kind of basically, I don't know if you've ever read Jane Eyre. She stares at people. She thinks a lot. She's kind of snoopy. That's what my interpretation of her. But she means well. So that's the way I played her. She's just this kind of a nice person. She's not really selfish, I felt. Like she can be a little bit, but she is mostly trying to be kind of selfless. And she just means well. And so that's how I played her. And it comes to the end. And I'm like, okay, she's either going to get a crap ton of people killed, or Chloe dies. And for me, I'm like, inside, I'm like, when I was younger, like, it's also dependent on if you made Chloe your girlfriend or not, I think, as well. Like, for me, because Max really liked Jefferson, I thought she was straight. So I played her straight. But I didn't know you could make her be with Chloe. I'm like, in my mindset, like, Chloe's so important to her. She's her best friend. She really loves this person. I'm like, at a younger age, I would say, yeah, I would choose this person over the world. I would choose someone I cared about so much over the world. I'd say, damn everything else. I'm like, being older, I'm like, how many people, all these lives, all these people who are going to have good days, bad days, just all these things, all these people, or just Chloe. And so I let Chloe die. Like, I made that choice.
Oh.
What did you chose the other way?
Yeah, I chose Chloe. She's my girl.
But she's your girl. She is. Chloe's awesome. But it's like,
I sacrificed the world for her.
I'm like, how? Because it's like, it's one life, or it's like thousands of Chloe, basically, is how I thought about it.
That's
true.
Like,
it's one Chloe or 1,000 Chloe.
Yeah, I mean, it's for the greater good.
Yeah, I'm like, for the greater good.
I think the character of Max would choose for the greater good. But I was playing it with my selfish ways, though.
I like how we're so opposite on this.
It's like, I'm going to choose what I'm going to choose.
To be honest, I think Max could go either way. And I had not an argument, but conversation with a friend. For them, for the viewers, it's Jinx. For them, it was, the only choice was Chloe. Saving Chloe. Because Max, she's so important to Max. There's the only way. And for me, I'm like, I don't think so. I feel like Max would understand that there's so many people. And it's Chloe. And Chloe herself says sacrifice her. And I think kind of the 4th chapter, whether you kill Chloe or not, actually impacts what you do later. Because Chloe asked you to kill her before, she's asking you to do it again. And part of me is like, couldn't we just save Chloe without using time powers again or something? Can't we just have both? Like, I just so hate that ending, because it's like, this is an important choice. Like, they give you this big choice. I'm like, I'm not the biggest fan of that ending. And I was like, I don't know. What they suggested, though, was interesting, was instead of it Chloe or a crap ton of people, because why does the storm want one person or a bajillion people? What if it was, but it'd have to be scripted chapter 2 to be, it can only be one way, is between Kate and Chloe. That would have been an interesting choice at the end, because it's 1-to-1 life.
Oh man.
One must die. I'm like, holy crap. That would have been
honestly, I would choose Kate to die, because Chloe's my best friend.
I know.
That's easy.
I guess they had to build up Kate more, but I'm like, that ending, like, it's the only part I'm not the biggest fan of, because I get what they're trying to do, but they didn't set it up perfectly, I guess.
I see what you mean. Like, I guess maybe, like, logically, it would be easier to make, like, the choice for the greater good.
Yeah.
But I feel like for selfish players like myself, I had a hard time. Because I was like, I know I should save people for the greater good, but, it's Chloe.
That's the thing, is like, that decision is such a hard one to make, and I think any other day, maybe I would have just picked Chloe over the people, who knows? Because I'm like, it's such a hard pick. It's really hard. It's also the guy who looks like me is going to die if I don't pick him. But it's just, I think any given day, like, if I'm in a more romantic mood, I'm picking Chloe over the people. I think that's how it is. Because it's like, just, they're so important to Max. They're very important to Max. And it says a lot if you're willing to sacrifice Max for all the people, because it's like, you're willing to sacrifice the most important person to you for the greater good. I don't know if you hear that.
Oh, wow. Someone's revving their engine.
Some people really like to ruin their engines. But it's just like, I'm like, but if I absolutely adore this person, I love this person so much, maybe I would go like, damn everyone else. And so I guess it depends on what day of the week. It's like,
this is true. Like, maybe on another day, if I'm feeling more, I guess, productive or I guess benevolent, I would be like, oh yeah, I guess I should save the town. But in that moment, I think that was what the game wanted to cater to, was like, in that moment, they just made you choose, like, it was like I guess, like, in game, it had to be like a split-second decision. But for us, I was just like, damn it, what do we do?
What I think would have been interesting is if you took too long, Chloe goes, screw it, and just rips the thing in front of you. It's like, no!
Yeah.
Because that's something like Telltale kind of does, where if you run out of time, they'll make something happen for you.
Oh, really? Oh, damn.
I think for the tough decisions, they don't do that. Maybe, or they just randomize what you choose. But it would be funny if they did that. We're like, because you're indecisive, Chloe rips it for you. He's like,
and
no.
you're like, no. That would happen in real life, though.
I think because Chloe gives the option, I think she would have just done it herself.
Yeah.
Like, Chloe's like, you have to sacrifice me, but it's your choice. And then Chloe's like, no, screw that, I'm just gonna rip it.
Yeah.
Because Chloe, like, even with her, you don't know. Like, Chloe, the way Jinx put it, is, Chloe is kind of the antagonist of the story. Not exactly, but she's the one who causes the most trouble in that entire story.
I think she's like the anti-hero more than the antagonist.
Because, like, not even, like, what I mean is not the antagonist, but she is the antagonizing force in that game.
Oh, right.
Because she's causing trouble for you guys the whole game. She's always starting crap with somebody.
That is true.
And it's like, well, she's kind of getting herself killed, isn't she? Like, when you're shooting the gun, like, you're telling her where to shoot, she can shoot herself on accident. You're like, well, you kind of deserve that, Chloe. I'm not going to rewind time just yet. I'm just going to let you drink
just let you bleed out a little bit. Yeah.
She hits herself, like, rewind time. Like, yeah, I'm going to let you just think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
Like, there's the one where she gives you the option to kiss her. And,
yeah. Did you?
I did both. But I went with no in the end, because what's his name? Because the guy love interest, he goes through so much for you. He deserves to maybe at least go on a date with you.
Aww.
Like, I'm pulling for you, bro. I hope things work out.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hoping that would work out too. He was really nice.
Yeah, he's so sweet, and he gets beat up for you and everything.
Yeah, but I feel like Max didn't really like or see him that way. Like her character.
They beat you over the head with that too. They're like, he's just nice. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. Like, she already friend zoned him as a character.
And so, but I was like, I didn't think she was into Chloe that way, so I didn't go for it. But I did it anyway to freak out Chloe.
Yeah.
She's like, whoa, didn't see that coming. But then I rewound it and picked not kissing her. And she's like, you probably already wrong time and did it. I'm like, yes, you're correct about that.
It's like, oh.
Because
that's pretty cool.
Chloe makes moves on you. Like, she tries to be subtle about it in the game. Because she's
like, it was just for being like, your best friend kind of thing. That's the way I saw it.
I couldn't tell, because she's being kind of playful, and she just kind of was like, you could use your powers right now. You could use them. You could do something with me and go back in time if you want. Because she does that when you're in the diner with her. She's like, you could sleep with anyone and then go back in time. You can sleep with me and go back in time. She's like, dude. Like, Max is like, dude, Chloe. And so, like, Chloe might be interested, I think, but I'm not sure.
That's true.
It's a good game, and before the storm's
I'm very
coming,
interested in like how like the Rachel's point of view. Because the thing with Rachel was like
we don't see
what happened again. Like, someone killed her, right? Was it Mr. Jefferson? Yeah, it was. Yeah.
No, it was Nathan. Nathan killed her. What happens is Nathan gives her drugs, but he gives her too much, so she overdoses.
Oh yeah, and they had to like bury her body.
Yeah. And that was such a tough point when you dig up Rachel and Chloe's freaking out and like, oh god, that's because it's where you went and shot the bottles. Like, you've been there. You've been walking over her grave.
Yeah.
It's so dark. Because it was Nathan wanted to prove to Jefferson he could do it too. Yeah. Without his help, and he screws up next thing.
It's like, god damn it.
It's so messed up. And Nathan's so messed up. And that's the thing that bothers me about Before the Storm, because I'm going to play it. And I'm like, you're going to be Chloe, and you can be kind of innocent Chloe, or you can wreck things. And you know exactly who Chloe is, so you're going to wreck things.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's pre-blue hair Chloe. It's when she meets Rachel, and they come together. So they're going to come together, and I'm assuming Rachel's going to die at the end of Before the Storm.
Yeah. Or she goes missing or something.
Yeah, she goes missing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about prequels, is you kind of know what's coming. You know what's going to happen to this poor girl. You know what's going to happen to Rachel.
No matter what you do, like, that will be the outcome.
Yeah, like, Chloe's gonna get shot, and she's either gonna die or not die, depending on what you chose. But Rachel's gonna die.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my, like, you hope it gets played, it's done well, but at the same time, like, do I really want to see this poor girl before she gets killed? Do I really want to explore that? I'm don't have a choice, I have the game. But, it's what it is.
Yeah,
and
it's a very solid game.
I was worried about the prequels, but apparently it's really good. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So gonna play that eventually. I'm just like,
it's not out yet, right? It's like
out yesterday, so it's out now.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm gonna probably play that tomorrow.
And
it's just Life is Strange was a ride. My one thought though is at the end of the game, if you choose Chloe over everyone else, they drive away together. I'm like, that's gonna haunt them for the rest of their life. That she chose all these people to die for her. Kind of like that's gonna bug them. It's like, well, yeah, we let all those people die. Yeah.
I let all those people die. I was like, Chloe.
Like, it's just how it ends is so tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not satisfied with either ending because like you don't want Chloe to die. You don't want her to die. You don't.
Mm.
Despite the fact that it made you see her die so many times.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want her to die.
You just feel responsible, like you can stop it somehow.
Yeah, you feel very responsible.
Because after seeing her in the wheelchair, it's like, oh, fuck, this is my fault too. Yeah. It's like you want her to have a good life.
Yeah, you have so much responsibility.
Because like up until that point, she had like a really, like everything took a turn for the worse when her dad died, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of want to make things right by giving her like, you know, a good life. But in the end, like, is that something you can give her? Like maybe she was meant to die. And that's what really kind of killed me inside, was that I wasn't able to, as a friend, I wasn't able to give this or help her in any way. So yeah.
There you have it, folks. The magic of games. Just how games get you invested. Like it's like books, movies, like all these media, you can get invested. And what games does is let you interact with it a lot more than books do. Like your imagination's in books. That does a lot, but because you're able to control things in a way. Just
the interactivity is what makes, I guess, separates games from books.
Yeah. There's choose your adventures, but it's not the same. You're putting your fingers in different pages so you can go back.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, I don't like this ending.
You're scum saving, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's true. I'm like one of those people who saves before like a hard decision, and then after, like, I would always load them back. Yeah. Save. Especially in Dragon Age. In Dragon Age, that's what I did. I would always like save before like any conversation or any fight, and then if I didn't like the outcome, I would load the last save and try to
That's the magic of Life is Strange, is just rewind. We know you want it. We know you can do it anyway, so just rewind.
Yeah, exactly.
Even some of the major choices you could rewind as well, too, so that was good. Except for like the final choice of the episode.
Yeah.
But yep. I think it's a good point to end on. We've gone for a while. That is basically a podcast again. Everyone who stuck around for the spoiler. And yeah, it was a good talk. Good fun talk. See you, everybody.
Bye.